Hi there, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you. We meet again. I'll tell you, we have had an active stretch of weather, and we've got another one coming our way as we get into the daytime tomorrow, then especially Friday. Friday gets really wild around here with some of the modeling. We picked up on this on Sunday night, the potential for more snow later this week. And the way these two systems are coming together, everyone's going to get snow from it. All right. It's not going to be a huge snow for everybody. But the period we have to watch is with the lake effect snow. There is just a real good signal, and all the dynamics are there to produce a really intense lake effect snow band. And that is going to be the big concern. So, a lot of you are going to say, why? And I get it. Why the hype around a couple inches of snow? Because that's what a lot of us are going to see. It's not really the couple inches of snow that we can't handle, but compared to this winter so far, it's going to be a lot, right? It's that lake effect band that is going to be just intense for anyone that's underneath that. And we could be talking snowfall rates on the order of 2 to 3 inches per hour. An inch per hour is a lot, but some of the dynamics coming together with this band, which just stretches the entire length of Lake Michigan. There's good dynamics in terms of cold air aloft. There's lots of convergence out on the lake. We're going to get some impressive totals out of this, and it's going to be really impactful in spots. We'll talk about where and when. And this is coming up on Friday. I'm just going to give that to you now. Okay. So let's dive into it, shall we? I'll add the maps to the stage here. Want to thank our early birds. We've got Jeff is the first on board today. Hi, Jeff. Andrew's joining us on our YouTube channel. Thank you, Andrew. Angel, hello. Good evening to you. Maxwell's with us. Darlene. Good evening, Jeffrey. Thanks for joining us. Linda says I'm on time tonight. Again, this is probably the time frame we're going to be working with on these. For those of you that haven't joined me in a while, my shift has changed. I have done evenings for 12, 13 years on TV, and now I've shifted over, at least temporarily for now, to the morning show, which is just it's just a different ball game. We start news at 4:30 on the TV side of things, but people think, oh, you have to go in at 4:30. No, we have to go prepare the graphics, do radio, all that stuff. So we're talking a 2 a.m. start time. So I get 2 chunks of sleep. This is my bigger chunk here at night. So I've got to do these a little earlier. So I appreciate you guys understanding. I know you're in the middle of dinner time as well. So taking the time out of your dinner to deal with this, I really appreciate it. Okay. So I'll dive right into it. This is a free show for our sponsors. We just thank them for everything. They're wonderful. TigerPlumbing.net. It's not .com, it's .net is the place to go. They're our local plumber. They've been with us for almost 3 years now. Awesome family-owned business, guys. If you have any water problems whatsoever, they'll fix it. All right. They're putting in new water heaters as well right now, and you can schedule online, TigerPlumbing.net. Speaking of water problems, if you have any pipes that burst or any insurance stuff you have to deal with, PSA is the place to go. It's publicserviceadjusting.com. They are like local licensed insured adjusters. What they do is they'll handle your insurance claim. Let's say your pipe bursts, you've got a flooded basement, all right, flooded bathroom, whatever that is. Bring them in first, all right? They'll look at it, they'll analyze it, they'll give an estimate, and they'll do everything with your insurance company and get you more money than you would on your own. It's publicserviceadjusting.com. stjudehouse.org is our nonprofit working around domestic violence. We appreciate all they do for the region. They're helping people left and right, and it's a big need. That's kind of a hidden, quiet need. So if you have any issues with that, you have a coworker that's dealing with domestic violence, stjudehouse.org is a place to go. You can get help there. They have a mobile advocacy program where they come out and meet victims wherever they need and give them whatever they need and give them the help they need. Okay. Good stuff they're doing. Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. They've got 4-wheel drive Jeeps on a lot. They have a lot of them, and they're wonderful in the snow. I don't know if you guys have tried to drive a non-4-wheel drive, but once you drive all-wheel drive, you're not going back. They've got a bunch there at Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and Valpo. Finally, Ewing Mechanical Services is ewingmech.com. Those are the folks that can work on your furnace if it goes out. Much needed. They've been very busy. Dustin team over there have been very busy helping people in Northwest Indiana. There are rave reviews about them coming out same day to fix problems. They have real competitive pricing as well. They're just great. It's ewingmech.com. Okay. So thank you for letting me get through those. Let's get into the forecast, shall we? We've got 2 systems we're watching right now. Here's one in the Southern Plains, areas of Kansas. There's another area of energy off towards the north. All this is kind of rotating on the southern periphery, that big trough of cold air up in Canada. All right. So these 2 systems are going to come in. This first one that we've got tonight, it's not a slam dunk snow. It's really not. We're going to see a narrow band set up. I talked about that in our last post. of some snow. It'd be pretty consistent, whoever gets under that band. But to be honest, there's more questions about tonight into tomorrow morning who gets the snow than there are about Friday. Friday's an actual system, okay? So let's dive in. I'll show you what I mean. We're going hyper local here, okay? We're just going to talk about the snow. We're not going long range or anything like that, although it does warm up next week, but we've kind of highlighted that. So here you go. As we go through time, what this band of snow is, it's not a storm system. It's not a front. It's basically a boundary. And it's really tricky to figure out where that sets up to the mile, right? I mean, we know a general idea of where it sets up, but if we're off by 5-10 miles, which isn't much of an error in meteorology, that's going to make the difference between you get snow tonight into tomorrow morning or not. So we've got real strong low pressure off towards the north. All right, all the air is coming out of the northwest, so it's kind of coming in like this. We've got that southwest flow we had today, so we've got air coming in from the southwest. This is basically the squeeze play is on. We've got north wind, south wind coming in. Where they meet is where the boundary is. Remember, air and wind can't go into each other, so it can't go into the ground either. So when it collides, it goes up. And when you have uplift, that produces, obviously, clouds and precip. And so where this boundary develops tonight, we're expecting a narrow band of snow. This isn't a big deal tonight. It's not a big deal tomorrow morning. However, if we get an inch and a half out of this and it sets up over northwest Indiana just in time for rush hour, that's going to cause problems, right? Especially to untreated surfaces. So just keep that in mind. We'll have some snow around tomorrow morning. If this band sets up over our northern tier counties, we're going to have problems in our northern tier counties, not from a lot of snow, but from the timing of the snow. So tomorrow morning, again, we could certainly be dealing with some impacts, some slippery roads outside. This isn't the main show, though, okay? This really isn't going to be a big deal tomorrow morning, but we'll have to keep an eye on it. You see how the modeling, this is 6 a.m., so starting 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then you can see it's out of here by afternoon. And much of our Thursday afternoon's quiet as we kind of wait on our main show, which is going to arrive Thursday night into Friday, okay? So that's tomorrow morning. Not a lot of snow. At best, I think we could squeeze out 1/2 inch to an inch. It's not for everybody. It's wherever that band sets up. And my confidence in exactly where that sets up is very low. I'm just going to be very transparent with you, okay? That's tomorrow morning, okay? After that, we start to turn towards a system, all right? This system will have an area of low pressure that's down to our south. So that means we get the product of a southeasterly wind that turns easterly, that eventually turns northeasterly, and then eventually comes out of the north. For those of you that have been around here long enough, that is a real good trajectory for lake effect snow in northwest Indiana. Northwest wind, west wind is what we've been dealing with really over the last couple systems. So we haven't had a lot of lake effect snow locally. Michigan has with that westerly component, but this time it's our turn for this. All right, it's going to be kind of a brief period of snow or snow lake effect snow chances, but during that period, and I said at the top of the broadcast, I mean, we've got the potential for some really decent dynamics to produce a single narrow band of real heavy snow. Some people are going to be in, some people are going to be out, and that's going to make the world of difference. So let's see how it unfolds here. I have the model that I like best, which is the HRRR in this. They all kind of agree. What we're kind of trying to nail down is the real specifics of where this band sets up, because that's going to be the difference maker. But here we go. This is Thursday afternoon. We're now getting into Thursday evening. System snow's spreading in. So we'll see a general light to moderate snow overspread every county in northwest Indiana Thursday evening. So tomorrow evening on into tomorrow night. All right. This is a general snow. Couple inches from this. We can handle that. That's not a big deal. But we will get a couple inches of snow from this. We're now at Thursday around midnight. And notice what we have developing. So system snow moves in. We now have a lake effect snow that's now the lake effect band of snow that's now starting to get organized within this system snow. So all of northwest Indiana is just getting a general snowfall Thursday night into Friday morning. Dynamics start to come together. You notice the isobars. We now have a wind that's starting to become a little bit stronger out of the northeast. And eventually, as it's low, which is down towards Kentucky, eventually as that pulls away, our stronger wind's going to start to churn, and it's going to start to churn out of the north. And so too will our lake effect band. So here's Friday, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. We now have a northerly fetch coming off the lake. We still have system snow around. And now we have a pretty stout lake effect snow band that's developing out over Lake Michigan. This is likely to come inland pretty quickly. So the modeling takes it into Porter and LaPorte counties first. All right. And that is I mean, we're talking 2 a.m. on Friday. So this is all pre-morning commute. All right. This is all overnight Friday. So Thursday night to Friday. And then as we go throughout the morning, we start to lose system snow and we get this wild band of heavy lake effect snow that's developing. And this is now morning rush hour time right around here. And we've got a problem because we not only have snow showers falling after a night of snow, where, I'd say a general 2 to 4 inches looks good for everybody, but we now have a single intense band of snow that is really putting down some totals, like 1 to 2 an hour, maybe up to 3 is possible with this. So where? All right, this is Friday morning. Okay, we've agreed on that. Friday morning, we're talking early morning, and then up to that morning rush hour, we'll have some kind of single intense band. If you're not familiar with lake effect snow, I know most of you are, but some people tend to move here and they're not familiar with it. Lake effect is very fickle, number one. It's impossible to predict exactly where it sets up, all right? But we have good indication of where it's going to set up based on the wind and what the wind is projected to do. There's a lot of different variables to it. It's not easy to predict. I'm just going to say that, the science part of it behind it. But the other thing is, it's very localized. And you guys know that have lived here long enough, is that you can go from no snow to a blinding, raging blizzard in the matter of, 500 feet. And there are some people that are going to end up with over a foot from this. And then your neighbor's going to end up with 3 or 4 inches. All right. That is the difference that we're talking about. So to nail down specifics on where we're expecting it to go, I agree with the Weather Service's call. They have a winter storm watch that's been issued for Porter and LaPorte counties. Those are the 2 counties that are going to be impacted by this most. But those in Lake County are still going to get some snow from this. And you may flirt with this band briefly, especially the eastern half of Lake County. All right. So you're not out of the woods yet. I would imagine they'll, I don't know what the weather service, and that's a popular question I get is, what's the Weather Service going to issue? It doesn't matter what they issue. I'm telling you what the impacts are going to be. Okay. We're all going to have snow Friday morning, Thursday night to Friday morning. That'll be impactful enough. We'll have some snow. Roads are going to be slick. But that lake effect band is going to be really impactful. And I think LaPorte and Porter counties are going to be the main recipients of that heavier lake effect snow as we go into Friday morning and then especially through the day Friday. Okay. Weather Service, again, I'm not sure what they're going to do. We'll probably end up with winter storm warnings for Porter and LaPorte counties. I would imagine that they may go advisory level for everyone else. All right. They may just go advisory for Lake County in case they get brushed by this. And maybe northern Stark County as well. But either way, I would imagine we have an advisory level snow for everybody. And then we'll have that winter storm warning that'll likely be issued or upgraded to that in Porter and LaPorte counties. Okay. So again, please, as someone who loves weather, which I know a lot of you do, please don't get caught up in the specifics of the watches and warnings. Okay. Don't let that distract you from the main point is that we're going to all have snow around here and we're going to have an impactful snow as we go throughout the day Friday. Okay. All right. So as we go through time, this is Friday morning. This is a rush hour. And then as we get beyond, we've lost system snow now. We have a gusty wind, probably 15, 25 with gusts over 35 at times out of the north. And we've got this intense lake effect snow band. And look, as I go back in time, look how it just waffles back and forth. This is why it's impossible to predict because it does this. It just wobbles back and forth based on the exact wind flow as it's collecting moisture along the lake. It's fascinating, but it's tough to predict, right? You're going to be in and out of it. And we're going to continue with that lake effect snow band all the way through Friday as it looks right now. And then eventually we'll turn the wind northwest. Everything will kind of push out in LaPorte County, and then we'll say goodbye to everything over the weekend. Okay. How much snow are we talking? I know that's a common question, and you have every right to ask that. Let's look at some of the potential because the 12Z model run this afternoon really ramped things up. Here's our snow tonight, max 1 to 2 inches. It all depends on where that band sets up. But again, don't be surprised if we have some slick spots tomorrow morning. Not for everybody. You notice the modeling has northern areas of Lake County with no snow. Meanwhile, you get down in the southern half of the county down towards Lowell, and it has 1 to 2 inches. Okay. Same for you in Porter County. Big difference where that band sets up. But either way, not a big deal then. And then here we go. Here's system snow right here. So system snow puts down a general 2 to 4, maybe 5 across all of Northwest Indiana. All right. So we all get that. That's Thursday night into Friday. But then we talk lake effect band. And yeah, it's still blowing out some huge totals here. This happened at the 12Z model run, and all the models have picked up on this. They're picking up on that strong dynamic across Lake Michigan. And you can see some of these totals. I mean, this is really impressive. It doesn't mean we're going to get this much, but the potential's there that we're talking over a foot. I think that's going to be easy to do in Porter and LaPorte County. But some of these totals coming out of the modeling are ranging from, a foot and a half to 2 feet of snow. And keep in mind, this is just through Friday evening. All right. It's going to continue a little bit longer than that. So we could end up with some places that get 2 feet of snow out of this lake effect band if it decides to sit and park over somewhere. I'll show you a couple more models. We'll go into the global models just to take a look at them because we want everything to be on the same page for this, right? There's our general snow right there. Or right there. That's our general snow tomorrow morning. It has anywhere from half an inch to an inch. Here's your general snow from the system, 2 to 4, says the Euro. Again, here's Northwest Indiana if you can't see it. And then you can see this lake effect that the Euro even develops. And it's got good totals as well. I mean, it's saying upwards of, it's got a 20-inch total there sitting right near Portage, Lake Station area, okay? So that's a potential from this. It really is, it's very impressive. That's the Euro. Let's look at the GFS. Again, these are global models, so they're a little bit less high res. But this has a little bit further east in LaPorte County. Either way, you get the picture. We've got real good snow lake effect version coming to areas of Porter and LaPorte counties. Northern Stark County, I wouldn't slouch for you either. You could get into some of the action, especially off towards the northern half of the county. We could see upwards of a foot. This band with the wind is going to reach pretty far inland as well. In terms of snowfall type, we're looking at a real light, fluffy snow. So this will blow around easily in the wind. So conditions aren't going to be real great on Friday. In fact, I think it's really messy around here, especially where the snow belt where that band decides to set up in the snow belt in Porter, LaPorte County. So just think about it right now. This isn't a big storm system. It's not like what we dealt with last couple of weeks with these giant low pressures with real strong wind fields, and they're just massive. And we've got rain and wind, and then we've got snow and wind on the backside. This is a little less fun to talk about because it's a very small system that's going to have big impacts. And that's why in the post yesterday is, my title was that we have a sneaky snow coming our way, because this isn't something the whole country's talking about. This is something we need to talk about here on Region Weather. It's not something, I know Chicago stations have picked this up, right? Because Porter County's in their DMA. But I've combed through some things and I don't see the coverage on this that it deserves. And this is it. I hope you feel like we're covering this well, because there certainly is going to be an impactful snow of the lake effect variety there. Okay, that's that. Let me look at a couple more models here. I'm going to look at the NAM real quick. These are a little bit more high res. We'll jump in. You can see the NAM has pretty much the same idea. It has the bands a little bit more northwest to southeast, so that would target more of LaPorte County. Either way, Porter County's still in it. Those of you in Lake County, I mean, we're still talking 2 to 4, maybe 5 inches. We'll have to watch how far west that band gets, though, because we could be talking higher totals in the eastern part of Lake County as well. Newton, Jasper County, not a whole lot for you outside of that general snowfall that comes in. So I still think 2 to 4 for you, maybe 5 if we get enough fluff out of the snow. But that's that. So in terms of the modeling, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at some pretty intense snow around here of the lake effect variety. And again, that band develops really as we get into the morning hours, like before morning rush hour. And it's just going to kind of waffle back and forth through Northwest Indiana all the way through the afternoon into Friday evening. All right. So that's kind of what we're looking at now. I'll answer any questions you have, and then I'll go tuck myself in. Okay. All right. So let's see. John Paul says everyone will see snow at some point Friday. Friday is when the lake effect kicks in. Yes, John Paul, very good. Very good summary there. Everyone's going to see snow, so I want to make sure the messaging is good on that. Tomorrow morning, a little bit of snow could cause problems. Not for everybody. There's going to be a narrow strip of snow that develops, okay? Then we take a break. Tomorrow afternoon's fine. Tomorrow evening, we start to see snow move in from the west. That snow will be a general snow for everyone. That's a system that's moving in tomorrow night into Friday. Everybody gets snow from that, 2 to 4 inches for everybody, maybe 5, okay, from the system. Within that system, we'll see lake effect snow develop. It's called lake enhanced snow when you already have snow falling. So we'll see lake enhanced snow develop. System moves out. Everyone else is done. And then we deal with a tense lake effect snow band that settles in the rest of the day Friday. So the system moves out Friday morning, Friday midday, and then we deal with lake effect, which is left over. That's the important part, is that lake effect band, which, given the dynamics and just looking at the modeling, we're going to get some real heavy snow out of that. And I saw a question on there earlier. Is this going to change? Could this change? The amounts could change a little bit. That lake effect band isn't going anywhere. That's been picked up on the modeling last 3 or 4 days. So the lake effect band will be there. We know there's going to be some kind of intense band of snow. The big question is, where does it go? And we can narrow it down to Porter and LaPorte counties. I mean, we really can. But if it decides to sit over Porter County for 6 hours, they're the ones that are going to end up with 18 inches. If it decides to kind of waffle back and forth, it'll be kind of evenly spread between the counties. But to get those real high totals, we need this band to sit over one spot for a while. And if that happens, I could easily see 1.5 feet, perhaps even 2 feet of snow out of this when it goes. Okay. So this isn't like a winter storm that we're trying to predict where the rain snow line is. That's really difficult. This is kind of a slam dunk in terms of, we're going to get some real good lake effect snow. The question is, where exactly does it go down to the town? That's the big question. Okay. So if you have travel plans Friday morning, starting Friday morning, even late Thursday night, like through the overnight, if you have, doctor's appointments on Friday, if you have whatever happens to be, whatever you're doing Friday, keep that in mind. Especially Porter and LaPorte counties are going to be rough. I think everyone's going to be pretty tricky Friday morning as well from that general snowfall. Okay. Lauren, I don't think so. Lauren asks, will Crown Point see any lake effect? Lauren, you'll see your own snow from the system. I don't think the lake effect will get to you. We may have kind of a weaker secondary band that develops off to the side of it in Lake County. I don't really see that happening, but I've seen it happen in the past. So we're not expecting a lot of snow down in Crown Point after the system snow moves out. But we could have snow showers around. I mean, we're going to have cold enough air, enough moisture around. We'll have snow showers, but the big snow is going to be in Porter and LaPorte counties from the lake effect. But I still see a general 2 to 4, maybe 5 for you out of the system snow, which comes in Thursday, Friday. Okay. Well, that's a really good question. Stephanie asks, I know you can't nail it down, but any idea of what the difference might be between St. John and Valpo on Friday? I live in Valpo and work in St. John. Stephanie, I think there's going to be, that's a wonderful question. And a lot of you probably have similar commutes either into Porter County or out of Porter County or LaPorte County, vice versa. That's a really good question. And I think there's going to be a stark contrast between St. John and Valpo on Friday. I really do. I think it'll be, if you're driving Friday morning, it's going to be snowy everywhere, right? Remember, everyone gets 2 to 4 Thursday night to Friday morning. So that morning commute, everyone's got snow, but then it becomes a matter of who has more snow and where is it continuing to snow. And that snow will continue in Porter County. I think that's going to be a rough go when you get back when you're heading back home. But your trip to work in the morning, I think it's going to be tricky anyway, because everyone's going to have 2 to 4 inches of snow on top of everything. So there's that. Julie, yeah, Chicago's going to get snow out of this. They're going to get general system snow. They're not going to get the lake effect snow there. John Paul says, might be hard to know just yet, but any idea when things may let up on Friday? It appears that this ban is going to continue through Friday evening, John Paul. Then Friday night, we should see it start to break up a little bit on the modeling. Let me get into that. I'll show you the NAM here. The NAM's not high res, but it kind of gives us a good idea of what we're dealing with here. So there's our system snow. There's the lake band. Oh, it doesn't go very far either. Never mind. Here, let me get you another model. We're going to go global on this. We'll go Euro because I trust it best. Here we go. We're jumping in. Hopefully internet's responding nicely. It is. Good. Okay, so here we go. This is Friday night. This is into Saturday morning. And then here's where it starts to wind down. This is 6 a.m. Saturday morning. And then Saturday, it transitions east as snow showers eventually winds down. High pressure is going to come in and set up shop. So that'll kind of tear that apart over the weekend. But still pretty good. I mean, I think Friday night we're still dealing with, especially that Friday night would favor more LaPorte County as everything starts to shift east. But that's kind of where we're going with that. Good question. Let's see. Yeah, Nancy asked a good question about the blowing snow on Rolling Prairie, New Carlisle. We're going to have blowing snow from this. It really is going to get tricky. This is a very light, fluffy snow. There's not a lot of water component to this. So it's going to add up in a hurry. And we're also going to see some big totals because of the fluff factor to it as well. Temperatures will generally be in the 20s before they fall back in the teens. The 20s tend to produce fluffy snow. All right. The teens tend to produce more crystals and kind of powdery snow, like little tiny stuff that doesn't add up very well. But we're right in the heart of the fluff factor with this. So we should get some nice fluffy totals on backyards and decks and stuff like that. Yeah, Teresa asks, and I see Stephen asking a question about portage as well. Brian says chance of 127 inches, unless he meant 1 to 27 inches, and I've seen that meme many times. But anyway, Teresa's asking about Chesterton. Chesterton is right in the heart of who could pick up some of the most snow from this, Teresa. So for sure, we could get some higher totals out of there. I would say there's a real good shot, and this is what the Weather Service is going with too. There's a real good shot at over 8 inches of snow. All right. They're kind of leaving it at that, which is safe forecasting. That's the way it should be. I think there's a real good shot at over a foot of snow out of this. And normally I don't like to go high on snowfall totals. Some of the modeling showing 1.5 feet to 2 feet of snow where this band sets up. We'll see. I don't want to say no to that. We'll see. It's got to set up over an area for a long time, which is certainly possible. I do think it'll be waffling back and forth. But I think, in the snow belt, Port or LaPorte counties, wherever this band sets up, we could be talking a foot of snow or more. I feel very safe saying that. And normally I go low on my snowfall totals. Everyone else, I think 2 to 5. We'll keep an eye on Eastern Lake County. We could see, that band come in for a little bit. Keep in mind, if this band is producing 1 to 2 inches an hour, let's just go with that, and it sits over your community for an hour, you have 1 to 2 inches, right? If it sits over your area for 3 hours, which isn't even that long a time, you're talking 6 inches of snow. So where this band goes, it's gonna come down in a hurry, and it may break up every now and then. We may see like a chunk of it come off as the rest kind of reorganizes again. So I don't think it's going to be super consistent, in terms of like where it parks itself, but it's going to be consistent in terms of it's coming in, and it will be going pretty good. Shelly says I have 4 Huskies. They'd love a foot of snow. I bet they would. I always love the dog video when you have fresh snow and then you open, the sliding glass door and they just go out. So feel free to share your dog videos with us. That's good stuff. Jane Allen, most snow north of US 30. Yeah, most of it will be, but I'll tell you, this is gonna head south of US 32 by a good 5 to 6 miles. I think we'll get some of the heavier totals as well. So there you go. Let's see. Yeah, Russ, it's tough to call on tonight. And the only reason why I say that is just the confidence on where this band sets up. This is where, the NAM's showing it. The HER's pretty similar. It's got it developing a little bit later. The modeling just isn't clear on where this sets up tonight, this general snowfall. And you notice the HER actually keeps it going. This is the latest HER. It keeps it going a little bit longer tomorrow. The models just aren't good. We have no good guidance in terms of tonight's setup. And we're not expecting a big snow tomorrow, but there's going to be some snow tomorrow where this deformation band sets up. And, we're talking an inch or two, but if that comes during rush hour, which we're expecting it to do, we are going to have slick travel tomorrow morning. We talked about that top of the broadcast, but, it's just, it's a crapshoot. It really is in terms of where this develops tonight and tomorrow. There's no good guidance in terms of this. Tanya's got dogs too. I see that. Let's see. I'm ready for it. Thursday night time expected. Yeah, John Alexander, good question on that. Again, most of this is covered at the top of the broadcast. That's right. John, this is going to develop Thursday evening. The main system comes in. I would say anytime after 7-ish. Let me go back and get you an exact time in the model because they're all pretty consistent when developed. So yeah, I'd say anytime after 7. So dinner time, this is what it's going to look like on radar at dinner time. We'll have a general snowfall moving in from the west. We'll have a few flurries and snow showers developing in advance of that. All right. So anytime after dinner time, and this will be generally light to moderate Thursday night, but this is the one everyone gets Thursday night into Friday. And then we watch this where that band sets up. Okay. Stephanie asks another good question. She says, will temps be high enough for road treatments and salt to actually work? Yes, they will be. We'll be at the 20s for the duration of the event. We're not talking 0 degrees, below 10, forget about it in terms of road salt, but the temperatures will be enough. The problem is our snowfall rates. I think the 2 to 4 is going to be doable as long as we're salting and plowing and doing a great job in DOT will be good. However, that lake effect band, it doesn't matter how much salt you put down. plows cannot keep up with 2+ inches of snow an hour. It's tough to keep up with 1 to 2 inches an hour. It just is. Okay. So that is where we're really going to have some impactful travel. And I want that to be the main messaging on Friday. That lake effect band is going to be a big problem. Okay. All right. Yes. You're welcome, Erica. And you're welcome as well. Hi, Linda from Lowell. Appreciate you joining us. And Emma, tomorrow morning is just kind of this little band of snow that develops. It's real tricky to forecast where it goes because it's not a system, it's a boundary. So it depends on the north wind and south wind pushing together and where it meets to the mile. But we'll have a general band of snow that looks to develop tomorrow morning. Not everyone's going to see it. Some of you aren't going to have any snow tomorrow morning, but some of you are going to have a general light to moderate snow. Right now, it looks to set up US Route 30 right over it. Russ was talking about that earlier. But I don't know if I necessarily buy that. It could be a little bit further north, could be a little bit further south. But either way, we are going to have some snow around tomorrow morning. That's not the big one, but that could cause some problems in its own right. All right. Aaron asked a great question. Wondering about Fort Wayne, how far east will it go? Fort Wayne will not be impacted by the lake effect band. South Bend will be eventually. This one's really targeting us here in the region. But Aaron, keep in mind, everyone gets this general snow, including Fort Wayne. So just kind of looking at some of the totals here. Here's your general snowfall, 2 to 4 inches, maybe 5, before the lake effect kicks in. And bounce, off towards eastern Indiana. I don't know if I would buy the 7 to 8 inches. We'll see. We'll see what happens with it. Again, the fluff factor will work. So there's that. Wendy asked a good question. What does Saturday AM at 3:45 look like in Chesterton? So Wendy, Saturday morning we'll still have lake effect snow around. I would imagine you're still getting some lake snow in Chesterton Saturday morning. So it does look kind of messy. Things will be improving as we go throughout the morning. That's good news. But I think it's still going to be kind of messy around your neck of the woods. And you could end up with some real decent totals out of it. Well, Nancy, here's the deal. You're supposed to leave for Wisconsin on Friday morning. That's going to be a tough go. You're going to encounter snow all the way up to the Wisconsin border. And you're kind of looking at the totals here. Here's probably when you're leaving, and we'll have snow falling, and it's going to be snow covered all the way up there. Not saying you can't do it if you're a really good winter weather driver, but that's going to be tricky. All right. Better chance would be to leave Saturday morning. But the problem is that, to me, it seems like there's not as many plows out on Saturday morning. So you're dealing with that too. That's okay. All right. Alice says, should our meal delivery program out of Chesterton Friday morning be canceled? We want to protect our volunteers. Oh man, that's Alice. I don't like to give advice on canceling. That's up to you guys and how great of winter weather drivers they are. However, Alice, I would probably lean towards canceling. I really would. I know that's an important program, but I think it's going to get pretty tricky around here Friday morning. Just looking at it, here's what happens Friday night. We get a general 2 to 4 inches. And then here's Friday morning. There's a lake effect snow band in and around Chesterton that's putting down 1 to 2 inches an hour. That's a mess. Okay. Tom says, I guess the lake enhancement phrase is no longer the cool phrase. I threw it out there a couple times, Tom. Did you miss it? Yeah. We're going to have lake enhanced snow that turns over to lake effect snow with this. And if anyone's wondering what lake enhanced snow is, it's when you have system snow already falling from a system, and then you have lake effect embedded with that. That's what you see here. See how you've got this general snowfall. I'll go back just a little bit further. You've got general snowfall falling everywhere from the system. And then embedded in that, you have a lake effect band of even more intense snow. That's not exactly lake effect because there's already snow falling. So it's lake enhanced. So you'll have enhanced snowfall rates near the snow belt for sure. Stephen, good call. INDOT will be on full call out as of tonight at 11. That's awesome. And if there are any, Stephen, I don't know if you're an INDOT driver or what you do, but if there are any snowplow, I know there's a lot of snowplow drivers on here. First of all, thank you to all of you. But if there's INDOT drivers, I know you guys, work really long hours as well. So we appreciate all you do to keep the roads safe. Seriously, if it wasn't for snowplow workers, none of us would go anywhere. We really wouldn't. And they work all hours of the night too. All right. I think that's it. I think that's all I've got here. I'm going to hit the hay here to do the morning show tomorrow morning. But I want to give you a heads up. Again, I know you guys appreciate this coverage, but I hope this coverage helps. All right. That's the whole point, is that I want to make sure that you guys get the coverage that we don't get from Chicago stations. All right, because they'll throw out some totals and do that, but they don't really understand what it's like to actually be in it. It's always something that's east of them. So there's that. Okay. All right. So we'll be with you tomorrow. We'll talk about, we'll just talk about it next couple of days. I'll give you the latest model runs and we'll get you through. But just plan as of right now, again, could have some slick travel tomorrow morning. It's not for everybody, but then everybody has a real slick morning rush hour Friday with some snow around. We'll probably have 2 to 4 inches on the ground of fresh snow Friday morning. And then we're really going to add to it starting Friday morning out in the snow belt, primarily Porter and LaPorte counties. Okay. All right. You guys have a wonderful night. Stay warm. We quiet down and we actually warm up next week with rain. That's not as fun to talk about.